Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Mia. Welcome back to another episode of the STEMspired podcast, where we dive into the journeys of brilliant minds who are breaking barriers, building futures, and changing the face of STEM one story at a time. So today we have a special guest, Dr. Andrew Sanchez. Woo woo. He is a chemical and environmental engineer whose journey is nothing short of extraordinary. From overcoming early academic struggles to earning a PhD, Dr. Sanchez has become a passionate advocate for representation, resilience, and redefining what an engineer looks like. Whether you're a student questioning your path or a professional looking to reignite your passion for impact driven work, this episode will challenge, encourage, and inspire you. Excuse me. Let's get into it. Thank you for being here, Dr. Sanchez.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Super excited.
Yes, so I know a little bit about you, but our audience, they're just now getting to know you. So can you give a brief introduction of yourself, both professionally and personally?
Of course. So yeah, thanks a lot for that lovely introduction. And so I'm Dr. Andrew Sanchez, and yeah, so I finished my PhD in chemical engineering almost a year ago. So 1 year ago today, I was wrapping up my dissertation, which was a long stressful process. And since then, the last 11 months, I've been starting a tutoring business focused for STEM tutoring. So right now it's a team of one, but super excited to start scaling that. And that's what I've been doing professionally. From a personal side, I love to just say that I'm a musician, and that guides my I play saxophone, I like to DJ, and that guides my work-life balance kind of thing.
I love that you still tap into your musical side. I neglected that side of myself for a while. I'm like, man, you got me thinking I might need to tap back into that. Yes, and I love the fact that you are getting directly into it with students, like directly interacting with them with tutoring services, like helping them gain that confidence. I'm like, you're tutoring like hard chemistry subjects. That is
Yeah.
not my ministry, but you are incredible at it.
Thank you, thank you.
So, what first sparked your interest in chemical and environmental engineering? Was it a class, mentor, or a life experience?
Right. With the very first time I even heard about engineering, I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I know the first time that I was sparked my interest was my AP calculus teacher for sure. That's when I was just like in high school. I was a high school senior taking AP Calc, and at this point in my academic career, I was not a good student at all. I knew I liked STEM, I liked math, and so I just said, oh, okay, I like math, I like chem. And dang, like I love physics. I want to be a physics major, but I'm not smart enough. So if I had the confidence, I would have been a physics major. I would have been a physics PhD. But at the time I didn't have the enough confidence, so I just kind of said, well, I like math, I like chem, so why not engineering? And I knew I wanted to help the environment. Long story short, I did my bachelor's in chemical engineering, and then my PhD was very heavily environmentally focused. So I might as well just have picked environmental engineering from the start. But yeah, that's kind of how it started off, choosing engineering and then selecting my career niche later down the line.
We love to see it because we need more engineers that come from underrepresented groups. Like, seriously, I mean, said to myself, dang, if I would have done something else besides like biomedical science and neuroscience, I definitely would
Hmm
have become an engineer. Like, it's
hmm
fascinating. I just, like you said, I felt like I had the confidence for real because I took physics and I mean, I passed, I did fine. But I
Right,
said, this is not for me.
right, right.
Yes, and of course, we met through TikTok. And so
hmm
I see your voice on TikTok and I subscribe to you on YouTube and see all that you do on there as well. So,
hmm
how do you use your platform to make engineering feel more accessible to students from underrepresented and marginalized communities?
Yeah, great question. So, Yeah, I've been making YouTube videos since high school, and then sometimes I go through phases where I cringe and I delete everything, and right now I'm kind of in my phase where I left everything up. So if you go all the way back, you can see my high school cringe, and that's kind of how it all started. Like just making skits. And in undergrad I was involved with high school programs like helping out high school students doing science activities, things like that. So I wanted just to do more. I was doing it for free, but I wanted to do more and more. So I revamped my YouTube channel, started doing, undergrad chemical engineering. And then TikTok became a thing. That just kind of like exploded 2019, 2020, that became a thing. So at the time at the time I was like one of the only like there were only like five STEM creators at the time. So it was super empty. Now it's kind of saturated. Now things have changed for the better, which is a good thing. But that's kind of how I started off, and yeah, I just try to do practice problems, just try to be support system, try to be that face for like whenever students are struggling. Yeah, then I do, practice problems and tutors and things like that.
I was gonna say, I mean, I wish I could have seen your content when I was taking organic chemistry back in 2018 or
Yeah,
something. And
yeah.
I love how you make it entertaining, like especially I saw the one you were talking about, like nucleophilic attacks. I said that's so funny. I love that. That could have been so helpful years ago for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Appreciate
like
that.
me, I'm sure other people are watching. So have you had any of your followers reach out to you about how your content has helped them or keep them motivated to stay in STEM?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely get those comments like, thank you, this helped me pass. And TBH, I kind of take it for granted. I'm like, really? Like this is only one little 60-second thing, but I'll take the compliment. And in fact, recently I had one follower who I was like, I haven't heard from him in a while. And then he reached out. He was like, "Hey, I followed you, 5 years ago, and then I found you again. Just wanted to reach out. I'm in med school now. Like he started following me from like high school even, and then now he's like in med school, and like he showed his appreciation.
Some true impact right there. Like you've been influencing people all the way from their foundational high
Foundation.
school years to medical school. That's awesome. That says a lot about how much you give out information and how much you prioritize outreach. So we need more of that in the world. I know previously you talked about some of the academic challenges that you were having in your AP Chem class. Oh,
Oh
it was
yeah.
one of those AP courses, but
hmm
um, so what were some of the biggest academic hurdles you faced in your undergrad or PhD program, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, great question. Because I was never a top student, so that's exactly why I do this because I was never like at the top of the class. I was never really a straight A student. Excuse me, until the very end, I started to get a little bit better, but most of my undergrad and my PhD at that was a struggle. I just didn't know how to study, quite frankly. I kind of was like I had the will, so I would, ask my professors, I would go to office hours, I would do the homework, but there was just always this disconnect. And yeah, so like it's just always kind of a struggle. It was always an uphill battle. And then in grad school is not any easier. Just like navigating the academic system is very, very strange, very new topic that even at the end I was still still struggling to learn exactly what it is you need to do. So yeah, just the academic struggles of STEM. Um it was an uphill battle. Yeah.
I think it's motivating though, and that screams like I think it's a huge misconception that everybody that gets to this point or makes it to the PhD level that they were straight A students the whole time, and that's not always the case. So I
Right.
think you sharing your story about that gives people hope that hey, I'm now making straight A's, but there's still hope for me regardless of my struggle, where I
hmm
come from, and all those other things. So kudos to you. It takes a lot to stay motivated when everybody else making straight A's, man. It's hard, especially in the
All right now.
PhD. Like I Said I just need to pass. That's what I said. As long as I pass, I'm all right.
Right. Right.
Yes, and
He's
you
get degrees.
mentioned too. Yeah, right. What did you say? C's get the. That's what they used to say.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit too about academic struggle, like in the academia setting,
Uh-huh.
how it can be
Hmm.
challenging. How do you personally challenge academic gatekeeping in your work? Because as you know, for us, it can be very difficult. Some information is withheld from
Hmm.
us. Like,
Hmm.
so how did you navigate through those types of instances?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's something that I'm kind of still working on. Because right now the main way I would tackle that is just kind of through like motivation. But specifically, just one concrete example is just saying, hey, if you have a school account, you can get these PhD papers for free, and just like teaching students how to learn, just how to read paper. The first time I read a paper, it took me like several hours, and yeah, it's gatekeeping to say the least, because
And
they
now
don't
they
use
have
jargon.
AI.
AI tools, yeah, that's gonna help. That should help a lot. I'm not a big fan of the jargon, and it's just like, yeah, just translate it in plain English, please. That'd be great.
Thought, yeah, it was a huge shock for me because I went straight from undergrad to a PhD. So I'm thinking to myself,
Mhm.
I need to crack open a dictionary because what is
Right,
this? I
right,
don't know what half these words mean.
exactly.
So I totally understand where you're coming from on that. And then also, sometimes it's hard to when you have certain career paths you want to pursue,
Hmm.
and sometimes you have to kind of figure out a way to navigate to make the connections that are meant to be for you to get to where you want to go, because not
Right,
everybody you can try to network, but not everybody will reciprocate that energy. So I feel
right,
like that's also a form of gatekeeping,
for
but it's ways around it always.
for sure.
And I know we talked a lot about challenges and struggles throughout this conversation, but what are some aspects you felt like throughout your journey that you were particularly proud of, whether it's a project,
Hmm.
application, or just a huge life milestone?
Hmm. The first one that comes to mind is when I first published my first paper. That was definitely like my ticket that just felt like, okay, finally, like, it took me from the start of doing research to getting that first paper to was a 7-year process of just like doing not the same project for seven the paper itself was about 2 years, so but the 5 year kind of like laying the foundation of like doing the research, doing undergrad, learning about experiments. And so once I get that first paper, it just felt like finally, I can finally, I felt like that's when I felt like I became a PhD. Was when I got accepted, and yeah, that was my milestone. My personal favorite though was when I was a TA for the first time and I was teaching for the first time. That was like my favorite. Like I gave it my all for that class, and yeah, and like that's when I kind of flipped the switch in grad school and like became a lot more confident in my academics, and yeah, kind of like that's kind of how it
I
shaped
mean,
my path.
being able to teach is a skill. Like,
Right.
you have to have
Right.
true understanding to be able to teach someone else. So I can only imagine how much of a confidence booster that was, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
even publishing a paper, especially when you're in grad school. And I don't know if for you, like publishing a paper was part of your requirement in order to graduate.
Right,
But for us, you had to publish a paper before you could even graduate,
right.
or I think before you could even have your defense, you had to. So that aha moment, eureka moment when you get a paper and it's like
Yeah,
the data sticks. Oh,
yeah, definitely. It was a requirement for us. There are some like, some leniencies if you're like not quite finished, but it's pretty much a requirement to have something out there. Yeah.
yeah. So when you get that paper published, it's like, oh, I can see the end. The end is
Right.
near.
Right.
Yeah, so with all of those things, your experiences and everything that you talked about, what does it mean to you to be a Latino PhD in engineering, especially in a field where representation is has always been limited and is still limited?
Yeah. I love this question, Dr. Mia. I don't talk about this nearly enough because my mom basically, raised me to be proud Hispanic Latino, and like I don't really show it that much on social media. Maybe sometimes I do. Um
Hmm.
but that might change in the future. That's kind of like out of fear, to be frank. So I
Hmm.
really love this question. And so to me, like it's just truly an honor that I get to be, part of that. Like um I get to try to facilitate that, and it's great to see a lot of other creators. I don't feel alone at all. Growing up, like when I thought of an engineer, first thing that comes to mind was not a Hispanic person, like to say the least. Like if I think of Hispanic, I don't think of engineer. But why not change that? Or why not? Why can't I think if I think of like a doctor, why can't I think of like a black woman first thing comes to mind, or if I think of like any other race. So it's just like truly an honor to be a part of this kind of like yeah, shaping the culture and yeah, maybe my subtle like goal is maybe if you think of an engineer, you think of a Hispanic person or something like that, and kind of like changing that landscape.
See, I felt that completely. I mean, I don't know about your roots, upbringing, but at least in my perspective, I didn't come from money. I didn't
Right,
come
right.
from rich neighborhoods, so it's a whole different,
Exactly. Yeah.
even past us being underrepresented, we still like have this additional layer to it. So
Right.
it's important for us to show our community no matter what, no matter where you start,
100%.
it doesn't
Yeah.
determine where you will go.
Yeah.
So
And so on that note, if I can just add, like I wasn't, that privileged either, but I was definitely privileged, because I went to a pretty good school, but I was still like, still kind of like in the lower end of that kind of spectrum in terms of like financial and like upbringing. Like a lot of my friends had tutors, and I could like I that was not even a question for me at the time. So yeah, and everyone comes from different backgrounds, different upbringings, but yeah, I feel like the internet is going to be a good like AI too, especially can be a good like equalizer, so to speak.
agree. Heavy on the equalizer
Yeah.
because I think I've heard from students they're saying, "Oh, they're using all these words I don't even know, and I don't know
Right.
how to write in this formal way, and yada
Right.
yada." But it comes with like a lot of practice and skill. Like nobody wakes up overnight knowing how to write that way.
Right.
So I knew it took a lot for me to be able to get there.
Right.
But outside of that, so I don't know if this is like your experience, but I am a first gen
Hmm.
doctor in my family. No,
Hmm.
I don't have any other doctors in my family or that got a PhD.
Hmm.
So in terms of like first gen or non-traditional students who feel out of place in academia, what advice would you give to people who can resonate with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And same for me as well. I was first gen. My father is an academic, but he's in the he's like in like the law. He's like more in like law kind of like linguistics kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't really translate for me quite as much. So the first thing that comes to mind, because I'm more of kind of like a like a logical kind of brain is lock in. You have the internet now, there's everything there. You have the internet, so just lock in. Whatever you need, figure out what you do need. Maybe you don't even know what that is yet. And figure out what that is. And the first thing I would say is just math. Lock in for mathematics because that's going to translate to pretty much every field. It's the foundation of engineering and physics and having a strong foundation in mathematics is going to help you tremendously for the scientific, for any scientific career. That's a really important mindset to have.
Yeah, y'all. Math is going to be so important. You're going to need it for pretty much everything. I know.
Mhm.
Don't believe people that say, "Oh, I'll never do this ever again in life." If
Yeah,
you're going to be STEM, yes, we
you will. So might as well learn it now.
yes, learn it now. And what you said, all those points that you made talking about your background and how you got to where you are, as well as like some of the challenges and successes.
Mhm.
And I enjoy, following you and keeping up with your content and what you do. And I'm sure the our viewers would want to as well. So, how can our scholars and viewers connect with you?
Yeah, for sure. On TikTok, on Instagram, shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any like questions or concerns that I would be happy to connect on IG and TikTok. It's just Dr. Andrew Sanchez. And you can join like my community that I'm growing or LinkedIn as well. I'm there. So any way you can just like connect with me, I'm always like trying to respond.
So when we post this podcast, we are going to be tagging Dr. Andrew Sanchez so you guys will be able to follow him, connect with him. And that was Dr. Andrew Sanchez. He is a true example of how engineering isn't just about equations and lab work, but it's about courage and community. If his story lit a fire in you, make sure to follow him on TikTok and YouTube for more real talk about life, STEM, and success. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share the STEMspired podcast with anybody who needs a reminder that their path to greatness is still being written. Until next time, you guys, stay curious, stay bold, and stay inspired.